Selamat pagi, Mr. Steve here with another Bali News Update. Now, in light of the news that's just come out on Friday that the Bali Police have been found guilty of extorting a Japanese tourist in Bali, I thought I'd do a story on the police and bribery and the traffic police especially, just as a little warning of what goes on in Bali when you're out on the road.
Mr. Steve! Mr. Steve!
Welcome to Mr. Steve. So in the news in the Jakarta Post yesterday, on Friday the 21st of August, there was this story about the National Police punish officers who extorted a Japanese tourist. So I thought I'd get into that story because it brought back memories, lots of memories of when I've had to deal with a little bit of the Bali traffic police. So we'll just delve into that story a little bit. So the report in the Jakarta Post says the National Police have said that they have punished 2 officers who reportedly extorted a Japanese tourist for ₹1,000,000, which is US $67.93 at the time of the report, over a traffic violation in an incident that took place in Jembrana, Bali, in the southwest, in 2019. According to a spokesman for the police, he said the police have taken strict action against the police officers, without providing any further details on the punishment. The police spokesperson actually confirmed that the extortion took place, and he encouraged the public to file a report if they go through a similar experience or hear about such incidents, which is a bit weird because they don't actually outline the full detail of the incident. So if you've had something similar to something they've not reported on, then please file a report. Which is why I thought I'd go into what does go on with the Bali Police sometimes when you're out on the open road. In a previous report in the Jakarta Post, the Jembrana Police Chief, Ketut Gede Adi Wibawa, said 2 of his officers were involved in a case of extortion. The officers admitted to having committed the misconduct, and he went on to say the police were investigating the case to find out the perpetrators' intentions and their respective roles. "We are still investigating the case," he said. "They had confessed to their actions. However, we are still figuring out what they were going to do with the money." By the way, the footage in the background is me riding my scooter last time I was there in September. Here I am just driving past Kerobokan prison. It reminded me of a story that happened when I was there. I think it must have been about 2016, maybe 2015, and I was there at the time when a Dutch journalist was pulled over by traffic police to be extorted for money. And as a lot of you know, the traffic police over there will ask you for money in lieu of going to court or going to the police station. The police officer in this case was Komang Sajana, and luckily for Komang, the Dutch journalist secretly filmed the whole encounter of that day and what followed afterwards. And I can't play the video because it's obviously private on YouTube, but that video back then went viral because he filmed the whole incident. So the Dutch journalist is filming the whole incident, and this is what gets embarrassing for the police officer, because he immediately proceeds to spend the bribe money on beer and drink it with the Dutch journalist Van der Spek while on the job. And you can clearly hear in the video that Sajana says, "Okay, 100,000 rupiah for the beer, 100,000 rupiah for my government." Witnesses watch the officer buy beers, then call another officer to join the drinking session. In addition to the web all over the web, the ridicule they were getting, Sajana was punished with a 21-day jail sentence. Chief Brigadier Ketut Indrajaya, his participating colleague, was also sentenced to 14 days. So quite severe punishments when they get caught. But This goes on quite a lot, and it's not massive. I've been there 30, 40 times, and in that whole time I've only had to sort of pay money for bribes maybe 3 times from memory. And this is not a Bali police bashing video. I'm not trying to claim that they're the only ones in Southeast Asia that do this sort of stuff. It's happened to me in numerous places, Thailand, Cambodia, all over the place. But it's quite common, and you've got to remember the police in Bali are not paid big wages. It's very, very small, and it's been a part of life in most of Asia that you can bribe your way through the red tape and get things done a little bit quicker. So it's not unusual. What is unusual is when the bribes get huge and the extortion becomes wide scale in one big incident. And that happened, I think it was back in 2015, with an Aussie tourist who was in Bali with a heap of his mates for as they call in Australia, a backs party. We call it a stag party in New Zealand. And the party got visited by the police. That story made headlines all over Australia at the time, late 2015 I believe it was. And it was a former Australian model, Mark Ipaviz, who was having his final night as a single man in Bali and having a big party. And it's unreported, it doesn't really say why the police raided the place. There is rumours that there might have been drugs there, and there was definitely probably strippers. There was something going on anyway. But the police raided the place, and according to witnesses, started a bit of a fight, and they were beating up attendees with their handguns and even tasering. And members of the group were forced to pay $25,000 bribe to avoid imprisonment. Now there were 16 attendees to the party, so $25,000 between 16 attendees is still a hell of a lot of money. A complaint was made to the police, and which came out because the Australian media was heavily reporting it. So the police did track down the arresting officers, and they were suspended until hearings concluded. And it came out in the report that what they did, the police escorted several of these attendees at the party to ATM machines where they were made to withdraw money to pay the bribe, or they were claiming they were just doing that to simply make them stand in the sun as a punishment. So like I said before, extortion is a thing, and it's very, very common throughout Southeast Asia and a lot of countries around the world. But it's not widespread. These reports might make it sound like it happens all the time. But, it's one of those things when you do things like I do, where I go for solo bike rides around big long trips and stay at other places around the island of Bali. There's a few things I always try and do, and is keep all my valuables under the seat of the bike. Don't carry around shoulder bags or anything like that, or anything that they can easily be snatched. The other thing that I do is I always make sure that I've got a few 100,000 or close to $1 million in cash. Back in the old days, if you got stopped by a policeman, he'd try and explain that you needed a special permit to be driving around these areas, which is a lot of codswallop, as you know. But back in those days, you would just slip them 20,000 or 50,000 inside your driver's license as you handed it over. And these days, though, obviously looks like the rate is more around the 100 to 500,000 rupiah. So I thought that was just a little news story about the Japanese tourist that sort of brought back a few memories for me. And it's just something I thought it'd be worth noting for people to bear in mind when riding around on a scooter around beautiful, beautiful Bali. Take care, everyone. That's Mr. Steve with the Bali News Update for today. Catch you soon.